Hi, I'm Kayla Hathaway, a partner here at Cimpatico Studios. Cimpatico is a platform dedicated to cultivating conversations and actions on complex social issues with professionals all around the world. On the Climate EDU channel, I interview academics about university programs, careers, research, internships, and published literature like books and papers. If you're interested in being a guest, we'd love to hear from you. And now, on to today's show. Hello everyone and welcome back to Climate EDU. I am your host Kayla Hathaway, and today I'm joined by Samantha Murray. She is the Executive Director of the MAS MBC program at Scripps Institution of Oceanography at UC San Diego, and Samantha has 2 decades of experience directing ocean, water, and academic programs, and is the Vice President of the California Fish and Game Commission. She holds a JD from Lewis and Clark Law School as well. In this episode, she's going to be telling us about the Master of Advanced Studies in Marine Biodiversity and Conservation program at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography at UCSD. Joining us to learn about who the program's for, what a year in the program looks like, and the knowledge and skills students can acquire in this incredible master's program. Samantha, thank you so much for joining me today. How are things on your end?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, things are great. We're winding down the quarter and looking forward to having a little bit of time off and a little bit of rest.
Yeah, I hear that it's finals week this week, so best of luck with all the essays and grading.
Yeah, the students need the well wishes more than I do, but yes, it's finals week here at UCSD.
Yeah, well, best of luck to any students who are watching. So, this master's program, let's go ahead and jump right on into it, give like a little summary, like what it is, like the inspiration behind the setup of it. I saw the incredible drone footage of the area and was blown away by how like beautiful it is. So
Yeah, so our master's program is it's different from a lot of other master's programs in that it's specifically geared toward marine conservation and biodiversity. So if you are out there and you know that you want to work on ocean issues or coastal issues, and either you've been doing it for a while or you're looking to sort of pivot your career, this program could be for you. We really want folks who have experience already, right? So we generally are looking for folks who have at least 3 or more years of professional experience, but the average is more like 7 or more years.
oh my gosh.
Professional experience. Yeah. So typically not looking for folks right out of undergrad. We're looking for people that have some experience working, who really want to train up, hone their skills, build their scientific knowledge or their policy or economic knowledge, and go lead, get sort of in and out and go lead in marine conservation.
Dang, so with having an average 7 years of work experience, is that looking for like in the field of marine conservation or just kind of in general professional experience?
Yeah, so we want folks with all kinds of experience. So if you're a journalist or a scientist, an economist, a lawyer, an artist, if you've been in the Navy or the Coast Guard, really, I think I maybe said lawyer, you name it, we want your background, because our program is interdisciplinary. That's another thing that sets us apart. So students don't come, it's not like a traditional MS degree, where it's, really science focused the whole time. Our program, our program allows students to take coursework in economics, policy and law, science, communication, and more, so that they can really, fold together all those disciplines to tackle the challenges that we face in our ocean. So certainly we don't limit our enrollment to folks who just have a pure ocean conservation background, although we do have some students like that. But, if you have been working as an economist or an educator, for example, but you're also like, you love the ocean, you volunteer maybe at the aquarium or something like that, or you do coastal cleanups and you have some kind of demonstrated commitment or interest in the ocean, then we want you to.
Oh, that's so cool. So, reminds me, because I have a friend, actually, who she had told me about your program, which is like part of the reason why I reached out and was like, oh, this sounds so fascinating. And talking because she went from like film and going through this whole process, and that was super like just mind blowing to me. Like, wait, art students can also go and just get into oceanography? Like this is
Yeah, so
uh-huh.
we have a student right now. He's from Spain, and he's a fine artist, right? He does murals on the outside of buildings, like at his university in
Oh,
Spain. He does like these anatomical drawings, almost like scientific drawings and illustrations. But the theme of them has always been the ocean, right? So
mhm.
he has this genuine demonstrated interest and commitment in ocean issues. And when he does these murals, they're of whales, and they're precise and anatomically correct. And he really wanted to come to build out a foundation of scientific knowledge to enhance his ability, and marry his ability, allow him to marry, his fine art skills with the science behind it and do something really creative and innovative. So we do get students who are artists or have a background, something totally different. And what's cool is that's what makes the discussions that we have in our program really robust, right? Like
Mm.
having people with different lived experiences and perspectives and backgrounds is what makes it fun and how we all can learn more together.
And so, like with like the learning and conversation, so what does the curriculum for this program look like?
Yeah, great question. I also should mention that we use a cohort model, right? So
Okay.
it's a 12-month program. And so students come, we never have more than 23 students or so. So it's a pretty small program. So the students get to know each other really well. They work together. And because some have expertise in one area, but not another, they all get to sort of bring something to the table and learn from each other. So the curriculum is super fun.
Mhm.
They start in the summer in June,
Oh, the
with
summer. Okay.
yeah, they start at the end of June with a 10-week summer course that is like 9 to 4 every day. And they learn about oceanography, climate change, marine biology, marine diversity, ecology, economics, law and policy, lots of time spent on science communication. We do labs, we do lectures. We have a filmmaking week where they learn how to make films, science communication films from professional filmmakers. We go on research cruises on the boat. We go do field work underwater for a week. We spend time like doing snorkel surveys and crunching data, and yeah, just like spending a whole lot of time underwater. We
That
go
sounds so much fun.
kayaking. We literally do all of it, because we have to, right? Like
Mhm.
the challenges we face in the ocean today, there's no silver bullet. There's no one discipline that's going to solve these challenges, whether it's, climate change, sea level rise, plastics, issues with fishing. We really need to look at these issues from every angle, from every discipline. Um, and then in the fall, students do coursework in negotiation and facilitation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then they have required coursework in ocean law and policy. I teach that class. Required coursework in economics and the environment. And then they get quite a few electives as well. And then it culminates at the end with a capstone project, which is kind of like a master's thesis. Um, and that they finish in June, and they present their findings in June, and then they graduate.
Dang, so they just all of that in course of 1 year.
All of that in the course of 1 year. It's pretty intense.
Mhm.
It's grad school, right? So
Yeah.
half the students are like, oh, there's so many deadlines, it's so hard. I'm like, you want it to be hard, right? Like this is a 12-month degree, but it's a real master's degree, and it has 48 units, which is typical for a master's degree, but it's all compressed into 1 year. And so it's not for the faint of heart. It's challenging. There are a lot of deadlines. We don't recommend that people try to work full time anyway
Mhm.
while they're doing the program, because it is really intense, and you get more out of it when you have the time to put into it. There are just endless networking opportunities. We have lots of guest lecturers, lots of, when we can, when it's not a COVID year, we have lots of happy hours, but now we do some of those things on Zoom. And so students really get to build out their professional network so that when they graduate, they're well positioned to just jump off and go take the next step in their career.
And so, what kind of research opportunities are available for students in this program? Like with the their final project, like the capstone project, what types of things do they do? Is it kind of like more internship, or like I'm gonna pick this topic and just do some research? Like, what does that typically look like?
Yeah, such a good question. So we do have internship opportunities that students can do while they're here if there's an organization they want to work for, or they want to work with a faculty member in a lab to gain experience in eDNA or PCR analysis or something like that, or again, like an external NGO to learn about policy analysis. They can do that as an internship. For their capstone project, though, their sort of master's thesis, they have tons of latitude for what they can do. Really, it has to be interdisciplinary. They work on it for the whole time in the spring, and typically it's all they do spring quarter, and we're planning it with them all year long leading up to spring quarter. And once it's time to do it, it could be anything, right? Like we have students who've done an economic analysis of sea level rise in Long Beach with like a data visualization tool to go with it. We had one student do a cookbook on sustainable seafood recipes and stories of the fishermen who catch the seafood. We had a student do a field experiment on eDNA and white abalone, social science survey on whether being a diver translates to behavioral change, and more actions in conservation. People make films about phytoplankton in Antarctica and community science, or a business plan for blockchain in the seafood industry. So you name it, whether it's a film, traditional scientific research paper that you want to get published, or a business plan, or an educational curriculum, a field experiment. The sky is really the limit, and it's wholly defined by the student. The only requirements are that it takes theoretical knowledge and applies it to a real world situation, and that it's interdisciplinary, and that there's a value add, right? Somebody's going to use it, and it's going to be helpful, and it's going to move the dial, even if it's just a little bit, on marine conservation.
And so once students go ahead and graduate from this program, what does like the career opportunity tend to look like for students that come out of this?
Yeah, so I sort of see, our responsibility to students being kind of almost like a cradle to grave responsibility, for better or worse. I take that responsibility very serious.
Mhm.
And I care a lot about students not only finding opportunities and securing positions, but being happy in those positions and being successful in those positions. So we've been very fortunate. We stay in close touch with all of our alumni. When we're graduating only, 20, 23 students a year, we get to know them really well, but B, we're invested, and it's easy to stay in touch with them, right? So
Yeah.
we have around 270, I think, alumni sort of walking around in the world, leading really at the highest levels of government, in NGOs, in academia, foundations, globally, internationally. But we have statistics. We crunch the numbers on our alumni. Usually about a year after graduation, we'll crunch all the numbers again. And typically within 6 months, 88% of our students will have full-time jobs in conservation.
Oh my gosh, that's really good.
Yeah, and within a year, it's about 92% have full-time jobs in conservation. And then it's cool. We've looked at the statistics over time to see how they change, and like the names of their positions as they change over time. And it's been really interesting to see. We've looked at alumni 10 years after graduation, and a third or more have director in their title or officer in their title. So we really are, I take our place very seriously in the pipeline of sort of training the leaders of tomorrow in ocean conservation. And it's cool to see. And the mentorship that happens within the alumni network for, you know, the folks who graduate just fresh out of the program, who know, because we make sure everybody knows each other, who know and can be mentored by the folks who graduated 10 years ago. It's a small community, and it's such a web of a network, you know, where everybody gets a chance to help each other and become each other's, you know, future peers and colleagues.
Oh, and I think that's really important, like coming out of, or just being in any field, honestly, right now. Like just thinking reminds me of I'm graduating just recently in May, and I'm still in contact with everyone from like my environmental science like classes and everything, because it's like it seems like everyone that's involved in climate or ocean or anything is just all very like, okay, we're in this together, because there's just so much going on.
Absolutely. And for our program, because it's like 1 year and it's this really intense year, and a fair amount of the coursework is taken together by the cohort, the relationships that they cultivate with each other are just really genuine and lasting, you know, and you see them, I get to see them in the future, you know, being references for each other or connecting them to people to get, you know, jobs for each other. And it's really satisfying. It's really cool to see.
And so, for anyone who would be interested in applying to this program, what does the application process look like? Like, is there a CV, like example projects? Like, what typically does the paperwork and process itself look like?
Yeah, so first I'll say that the application deadline for this year, for the 2021-2022 year, is January 6th.
Okay.
So application period is open right now, and we usually let people know if they got in, you know, mid-February to March. And then, like I said, the program starts at the end of June and runs through the following June. And again, we're looking for people typically who have at least 3 years of experience, though we sometimes make exceptions. You know, if you did a lot of internships in undergrad, or maybe you went back to college, you know, you worked for a while and then went to college, we take that into consideration for sure. So we wouldn't want that to stop people from applying. We don't have hard and fast requirements on coursework, right? Because we are a really different kind of master's program. So we take a holistic approach to admissions that allows us to look at experience and commitment and lived experiences, and not just grades, GPA, did you take all science classes? Because we really want people who come from a background of lived experiences. We do say that a 3.0 is what we're looking for folks to get into the program. We don't take a GRE. We're not looking for that. No, there's no GRE required. Yeah, again, we take a really holistic approach to admissions for our program, and looking at the combination of everything that makes a person who they are versus just their transcripts.
Yeah, no, it's always nice to hear like, oh yeah, like don't worry about the GRE. I'm like, thank you. But did you actually learn something in college test that it just feels a bit, I have some thoughts on that whole thing, but so rolling back just a little bit, I do have a question from Sarah in our chat, and she's asking, do you know where we could find the cookbook that one of your students made? I'd love to have she would love to have a sustainable seafood cookbook for herself.
Oh yeah, so good question. So the student who did that just graduated in June 2020. She has a draft done, like it's a final draft, but she hasn't actually published it yet. She's working with publishers right now versus trying to self-publish it. But I will be sure to let you, Kayla, know when it does publish so that folks can find it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be perfect. And I can go ahead and I'll post it on like the Cimpatico wall related to this episode so people can have it referenced in there.
And her experience was so cool. I mean, she spent so much time just going down to the docks, talking to fishermen, going to restaurants, talking to chefs, getting recipes, trying recipes. I tried making some of her recipes, taking pictures of the food. So it was so much more than just a cookbook, right? It was like something between a cookbook, biography, a coffee table book. It was a really cool project.
Yeah, that sounds, I think that's, to me, like, it sounds like such an exciting thing to be able to go and look at like all the students, like just where their interests lay and then the unique capstone projects that come out of all of it.
Yeah, and so if you go to our website, and I think you have our website, if you go to our website, you can see, I think it's under, I'm not sure what it's under, but if you go to our website, and I can send this to you, Kayla, it has a link that shows all the, I think it's under curriculum. That's where it is. And if you go to the bottom, it says Capstone Projects. You can look at all the videos of past Capstone symposia. And you also can click on a link that will let you look and explore all the Capstone projects that have been done forever, right? Since we've been around since 2004, we have them all cataloged in a place called eScholarship. So there's a link to all of those too, and you can get a sense of what people do, because it really does run the gamut from, again, films to business plans, curricula, traditional scientific papers, and just everything in between. Story maps, people make story maps.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing I didn't get to talk about is, in addition to the coursework and the networking opportunities, students have a chance to really focus in on specific training and skills they want to hone while they're here. So if you know you want to learn GIS, marine GIS in particular, or you want to learn R, which is something that some folks may want to learn for like economic analysis or data analysis. If you want to learn Tableau, which is a way of visual communication that can be really helpful. If you want to learn filmmaking, if you want to learn survey, like social science, survey design and analysis, all of those things are available to you. And you can really think about what you want to do after the program. I always encourage students to do this, and we have exercises and assignments that get at this. Like, look at the jobs that you want to get and identify the qualities, the qualifications you don't have now. And then let's work backwards from that, and let's get you those top 5 skills or areas of knowledge while you're here at the program, so that you can get those jobs when you graduate, right?
Yeah.
So really allows students to be in control and have agency over the program and what they get out of the program. It's really, there's so much opportunity to tailor it to specific students' needs.
Cool. And with that, Samantha, we're going to go ahead and wrap up our episode. Just hang tight. We're going to roll into Just Chatting, so we'll be right back.
Okay.